Give me big old buckets of butterbeer. Give me big old barrels of butterbeer. Give me the drink I love so dear. And another round for my friend right here of the sweet old butter beer.
Welcome to the Three Broomsticks. We invite you to pull up a chair, grab a butterbeer, and settle down for a hearty discussion about Harry Potter. I'm Taavi Wickman.
I'm Sophia Jenkins.
And I'm Ev McLaughlin. And today joining us is our esteemed guest, Stephanie Bailey. Would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself, Stephanie, your Hogwarts house, your favorite book, your favorite character, and your journey to Harry Potter? And because of the topic of this episode, which we will get to in a bit, would you follow a mysterious Doe Patronus through the woods if one randomly came to you? This is our last question.
Of course. Again, name's Stephanie. I am a very proud Hufflepuff through and through. My favorite book is Prisoner. And my fave character has been Ginny for a long time, but as I get older, Fleur is really creeping up the ranks and is fighting for that top spot.
That's interesting. Don't get many Fleur fans.
Well, yeah, what has been making you like Fleur more recently?
I think it's just as you like, Fleur ages like fine wine. And that's one of the things we've said over on our podcast a couple times. You hate her when you're young because she's everything you want to be. She has the confidence. She has the look. She can get all the guys. But then as you continue to get older and she gets older, she's really smart, fiercely loyal, loves with her whole heart, will do anything for those she cares about. And she's just an overall great character and great person.
Yeah, I can see that.
Remind us about your podcast.
Yes. So I am hopping on here as a guest host, but I do host Expecto Patronum, which is a Harry Potter podcast all about the different Patronuses you could get when you take your Patronus test. And we dive deep into a specific animal per episode. And I believe we're in the middle of releasing our second season right now.
Oh,
Amazing.
Fun. Well, that's so perfect for the chapter we're talking about today.
For sure.
Yes. And I don't think I would follow a doe through the woods, but if I did, it would not be as blindly as Harry did. I would suss that out a lot first.
You wouldn't just trust it implicitly?
No, I'm not in the business of trusting things implicitly.
Thank God. That might be the male audacity we're talking about here, I guess.
I don't know. I think I would do it. I think I'd 100% follow that doe.
God, no. In the middle of the forest when people are trying to kill me? No, not a chance.
But it's a beautiful silver doe.
When you're actively the most wanted person ever, you would go wandering without protection, not looking around you, just staring at this doe and following it without any awareness of your surroundings.
I believe strongly in gut instincts and intuition. And I think that he knows that this doe is safe. And I think I would feel the same way.
You have more faith in Harry's gut than I have.
He also had a gut instinct that Snape was trying to kill him.
Harry's gut actually is generally pretty good. He gets through a lot of situations just on gut instinct and intuition, so...
I guess that's fair.
I mean, it's not 100%, but it's not bad.
It's pretty decent, I'd say.
Anyway, today, for episode number 79, we've gathered to discuss chapter 19 of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, the Silver Doe, which is 181 of the series. Of course, you're encouraged to read the chapter before listening. So if you can pause this and come back to us, that'd be great. Recommended reading is a 2-part series of essays by Beatrice Groves, Matilda's Notebook, Christmas in the Forest of Dean, Part 1, and Christmas in the Forest of Dean, Part 2.
It is an excellent 2-part series. I would highly recommend it. It has some great pictures as well. Very well illustrated. And Beatrice is a friend of the podcast, and she's often with us for our strike episodes. So if you like those, check them out and read more of Beatrice's stuff. Okay, and before we dive into the pool of freezing cold water with Harry, huge thanks to Katie Ricken over on our Patreon who bought us this round of warming drinks at the pub. Yay! Thank you, Katie.
Thank you.
Woo.
And if you would like to be like Katie and buy us around at the pub, please head over to patreon.com/3broomsticks with numeral 3 to sign up, where you can listen to Sophia and Irvin plan lots of magical birthday parties, or Oreo and Sierra talk about magical creatures. We have hours of extra content for your commute or your boring work meeting. We won't tell anybody that you're listening to Three Broomsticks instead of your boss. It is fine. We would really appreciate your help in keeping the lights on the Three Broomsticks so we can talk about Harry Potter for a long time to come. This is a labor of love, and we would like to continue doing it for a very long time. However, galleons do not grow on trees, and we would like to start breaking even on the costs associated with the podcast. So this is still January, a new year. And if you would like to make your New Year's resolution to listen to more podcasts and support your favorite ones, and we're your favorite one, please consider joining our Patreon. We would love to see you there. And without further ado, we would also like to raise a toast since we have drinks now, thanks to Katie. And we are raising the toast to the comments on episode 76, which is an episode about the Yule Ball chapter 23 of Goblet of Fire. And we raise our glass to commenter Absent-Minded Raven, who said, well, before I say what Absent-Minded Raven said, I would like to say that there were a lot of very thoughtful and interesting and nice comments on that episode, but this particular one just made me laugh out loud and I wanted to include it. On the topic of alternate dark mark locations, that would be another good reason to not put your wand in your back pocket. No one wants to butt dial Voldemort.
Oh dear God.
Oh my
Which
god,
is true.
that's so funny. I love it.
Oh my god.
That would be very embarrassing. You suddenly Voldy shows up in wherever you're sitting down, and you're like, no, that's just a butt dial.
I think Bellatrix would want a butt dial Voldemort, but
Oh god.
booty call. Other than that.
Also, I think the real issue with putting your wand in pockets is the snapping risk.
Right?
Right? Why isn't that anybody's first thought?
I'm like, how are your pockets built? But also maybe this is why wizards wear robes instead of like pants, because like, you know, pants, they're very tight to your body, so the pockets are, like if you're wearing basically like a dress and like a loose dress that has pockets, it seems like, you can sit and not be like breaking your wand. But like when they're wearing muggle clothing and they put their wand in any of their pockets, I'm like, how does it not snap immediately?
Yeah.
How does it fit?
You know the way people put their smartphones in their back
Yeah, but
pockets
that's not
all
like
the time.
a stick. A piece of
But I'm still
thin
surprised
wood.
people don't break their phones more often just by sitting on something. How does
No,
that even
I
work? I
always
don't
have
know.
my phone in my back pocket and nothing
Do you?
ever has happened to it. I think it's pretty just solid. Like, I don't know. It's not built to
okay.
break.
It's also because it's way smaller, so.
I do think that wands have to be like stronger than the average stick. Like there must be something that makes it harder for them to break, because I'm like shocked that their wands aren't
Is it
breaking
magic?
constantly.
I bet it's
I think
magic.
there's some magic, yeah.
Potential episode title, Stronger Than the Average Stick.
Why not?
We're not even at the chapter
No, I know.
part yet.
Well,
but
you know what? If something perfect presents itself, we have to take that into account. So.
yeah.
But I just had a little thought here as well, because I like being a little bit dramatic. That's why I have a love for Lucius Malfoy, and of course a hate for Lucius Malfoy. And I don't know if any of you guys have played the game Assassin's Creed games.
I love
I have not.
Assassins.
And I would love to have like kind of like a wand ejector thing on my forearm. Just throws the wand in my hand. It'd be amazing.
Yes.
It would be incredibly dramatic. It would rival Lucius Malfoy's wand cane perfectly.
You get to keep your finger.
Exactly.
Because in Assassins, they have to remove that finger so the blade can come out. But if you're just shooting the wand into your hand, you get to keep all your fingers.
That's a cool idea.
Although I think the wizards can grow the finger back.
Do we know this?
I feel like wizards can't regrow.
I mean, magic.
I think when it, as we see with like when George's ear gets cut off, if it is destroyed through dark magic, then it can't grow back.
Yes.
I think if they just cut it with kitchen scissors, they probably could do something.
I think then you probably could, but if it's through dark magic or something, or through magic probably in general.
See, I don't think they'd be able to grow an ear back, period. I think once it's gone, it's gone. Like, unless they're going to sew it back on, I don't think they can regrow things.
Well, I think just because the, like, well, you can regrow bones, so why couldn't you regrow an ear? I don't know. Like, the way it's phrased in that line, I think it's Lupin who says it. He's like Harry's like, isn't there anything we can do about George's ear? And he's like, no, when something has been cursed off from dark magic, like, there's nothing you can do about it. Which makes it sound more like this is specific to something being cursed off by dark magic rather than on a normal day.
Yeah.
But anyway, sorry, we're getting...
We are
I don't even know how we got here from butt dialing Voldemort, but yes.
Where would you put a dark mark if you had to choose a location?
That's an interesting idea.
I don't know. Because I feel like no matter where you put it, it's... Like, I feel like I would easily mess that up. And, like, in the middle of, like, changing to get ready for the morning, I'd accidentally hit it and summon Voldemort.
Yeah, no, actually, are you, like, never able to, like, clean that part? Like, are you... Like, can you take a shower without, like, accidentally, oh my god, calling Voldemort into your shower?
I think...
Well, you'll have to touch it with a wand, so if you're just touching with your hand, I'm sure it's fine.
Oh, that's true.
Right.
I feel like, I don't know why I had the vision of them just, like, poking it with a finger.
I thought that, or maybe that's a movieism.
I think Voldemort did, but there is something called wand that's magic.
Oh, no.
So it might take a bit more intentionality to do it. Like, you can't be like, poke and be like magic. You have to actually think about the act and have some consciousness behind it.
Yeah.
I'm guessing there's something to do with the intention, because otherwise, like, that's just wasting everyone's time.
Yeah.
Everyone's just apparating around all the time.
Bellatrix can summon Voldemort to her shower all the time, if she wants to. Because she would have enough intention.
And she probably tries to all the time. It's a question of whether or not she's successful.
I feel like he would just, like, ignore her dark mark calls.
I mean, I think, to be perfectly honest, Bellatrix is scared of angering Voldemort, so she wouldn't do anything that he would be pissed off by.
Also, I don't think it would be a very effective, how do I put this, dark mark booty call when everyone else also gets the signal.
What do you mean? Like all of the other Death Eaters also show up? Okay, I'm not going to make a joke about that.
That's like 3 broomsticks after dark.
Yeah, we'll go to our innuendo episode for
maybe another innuendo episode.
Anyway,
listeners, episode 69, innuendo episode if you want more of this.
Yeah. Oh dear. We're going to get cancelled like Shakespeare.
Yeah. Probably. Taavi, would you like to read us the chapter summary?
Yeah, so it's...
provided by Sam, very
poor
generously.
little lonely Harry time. But never fret. Harry can stalk Ginny to his heart's delight as long as she's at Hogwarts, thanks to the Marauder's map, which she for some reason did not leave with them. That would have been very useful for them when Harry is being terrorized. Hermione takes him to the Forest of Dean, which incidentally is actually a super cool place that we're going to come back to. The thing is, Hermione told Harry the location within earshot of Phineas Nigeris. And of course, he reported that to Snape. Silver Doe appears, and no one expects it to be Severus Snape. Mainly because nobody told them, and Dumbledore's dead, so yeah, let's see. Harry follows a strange Patronus, ghost of his mother's never realized animagus. Great idea. Into the forest. Another great idea. Luckily, of course, it just leads into a pond where they find the sort of different door. And he jumps into the pond with the Horcrux. which tries to kill him. That goes as well as you could imagine. But someone saves him. Ronald Weasley is back. And of course, he pulls Harry out, goes back for the sword, and at the exact right moment, manages to destroy the Horcrux, and comes back to a very, very, very angry Hermione. And of course, tells a story about how he made it back. Very good job, Ron. And not good job, Harry, because you're being an idiot, as usual. Sorry.
I feel like that is Harry slow. Like, anybody could say that about Harry. Not good job, Harry.
I feel attacked on Harry's behalf. As a Harry apologist, I feel like I have to protect Harry.
I believe the term is...
I'm going to protect Harry later on in this conversation too, so I'm on your side there.
I believe the term is failing upwards.
Wow. Okay.
Wow. I disagree, but we'll move on.
I see Sam also has ended the chapter summary. I can see it in the doc with "Good job, Rob." It's probably just a typo, but I like to just think that that's on purpose as just the measure of contempt that Sam has for Ron.
Maybe.
But overall, I think it's a really nice chapter to start the year. And this episode comes out at the end of January, but it's still the first month of the year. So I'd like to think that's start of the year. So our trio is reuniting, and they're repairing their relationship, and it's overall quite heartwarming after all that they go through in this chapter and just in general.
Yeah. This is one of my favorite chapters, maybe in the whole series. So I'm really happy. I'm really excited for us to discuss it. So it's the very beginning of the chapter starts with Harry's dreams. So Hermione takes over the watch. Then it says Harry's dreams were confused and disturbing. Nagini wove in and out of them, first through a gigantic cracked ring, then through a wreath of Christmas roses. I found this really fascinating, especially the cracked ring, because Harry doesn't have any... He doesn't know yet that the ring is related to the Resurrection Stone, for example. Yeah. But in the chapter of them being in Godric's Hollow, they do see the Deathly Hallows sign on the grave. However, in that chapter, so they see that grave, they see the Deathly Hallows sign on the grave, and Hermione is looking at the grave and she thinks it says Potter. It actually says Peveril, but I don't think she even mentions the fact that it says Peveril. So this must have been some real, is this Harry's subconscious that is bringing up this imagery of the ring and connecting it to their trip to Godric's Hollow, to the Deathly Hallows? Or is it some other sort of magic or some way in which he's getting some information? I think this is really interesting. What do you guys think?
Please remind me, have they connected the Deathly Hallows story? Have they made that connection yet?
No. So the only thing they haven't. So this is the only thing that we know so far. Let me find it quickly. They are in the graveyard. Hermione is looking at the grave of the Peverils, and
listen, I know the grave has the symbol, but I don't know if they've made it the connection to the story and to Harry yet at this point.
Yeah, so she calls him over, shows him the symbol, and says, "That's the mark in the book." And he's like, "Yeah, it could be." And she says, "It says ignotus, I think." And he says, "I'm going to go keep looking for my parents." So the only way that Harry could honestly, either consciously or subconsciously, have made some connection would be if he had seen the name Peveril, because he does later realize, when Morphin Gaunt is wearing that ring, they like mention the Peveril family and how this is a Peveril family heirloom or whatever. But he doesn't even notice the name Peveril on this gravestone. So to me, it seems like there isn't any way that he could actually know that there's a connection between the ring and the Peveril family.
Because also, he doesn't know the story of the Deathly Hallows. Like, they have to tell him about it later.
No. Yeah, he doesn't know any of that.
So he doesn't even know what they are.
All he knows is that the ring was a Horcrux and Dumbledore destroyed it.
Okay.
And he knows that it was a heirloom in their family.
Yeah, okay.
So
thank you.
I guess one possibility is that Voldemort is thinking about that ring. And so Harry starts thinking about it. Though Voldemort also doesn't know the connection with the Peverils or the connection with Deathly Hallows. So I don't know why he would be thinking about it at that moment.
Well, it's a dream, though. He's not consciously thinking about it.
I meant like Voldemort. Like, if he is like tapping into something that Voldemort's thinking, like, I don't know why Voldemort would be thinking about the ring at that moment. Like, because he doesn't know the connection between the ring and Godric's Hollow, like with the Peverils. So it could be he's tapping into something related to Voldemort, but I don't see any reason why that would be.
You don't think he might be a bit of a seer?
Well, I do actually think, like, Harry does have, like, dreams that are beyond the sort of normal in different ways, mainly in connection to Voldemort, but there are a few times that he has, like, kind of dreams that are, like, at the very beginning of the first book, he has some weird dream about, like, well, maybe that could be him tuning into what Voldemort's thinking, but there is a weird dream about Quirrell and Snape and the turban and stuff that isn't like his later visions, but, like, is kind of a little prophetic in a way. I don't know. I feel like he's connecting to something on some, like, level beyond what is consciously available to either him or to Voldemort.
Well, he had a dream of following a silvery white animal through the dark wood in Prisoner of Azkaban, which is kind of what happens in this chapter. So
yeah,
it wouldn't really be Voldemort related at all. So I think that's all him for this one.
That is a great connection. I do actually think that Harry might have some, like, I don't know if I'd call him like a seer exactly, but like that sometimes he's getting signs of things that are to come or connected to what he's going through.
There would be some wonderful irony in that, of course. Him being a seer at the end of it.
Because he doesn't like divination so much.
Exactly.
It's the inner eye.
Well, his whole life is, like, being controlled by divination at this point. So, like, there is definitely some irony of it with this prophecy. Yeah, so that was a question I had of, like, why is this ring coming up for Harry in this moment? But also, for me, it kind of made me think of, like, ring theory and whether this chapter is sort of closing a ring from another book. And the fact that the second sort of ring that he mentions is like a wreath of Christmas roses, which makes more sense because they left that wreath of Christmas roses on the grave, but also made me think of like a ring related to Christmas, of how this chapter connects to his first Christmas at Hogwarts. So book 1, book 7 ring. And I'll talk about that more throughout. But actually, I think that there are a few different rings. I think this connects to his first Christmas at Hogwarts. I also think has some echoes of his first time going into the Forbidden Forest with the unicorn, and some echoes to the end of Chamber of Secrets. So I think it's like not a super traditional ring with those other ones brought in, but I think the strongest ring is between first Christmas at Hogwarts and this 7th Christmas. So we'll talk about that more as we go.
Stephanie, were you going to say something? I think I interrupted you. Apologies about that.
Well, I think the only thing I said recently was I think Ron is more of a seer than Harry, but that's a completely different tangent.
Oh, that's fascinating. I'm curious, but but yes, maybe a tangent.
I have heard of it as a theory because sometimes he says something funny and then it turns out to be true later. Is that kind of what you're talking about, Stephanie?
Yeah, I mean, if you look back at all of the predictions Ron has made throughout the course of his divination homework,
yes,
they've all been accurate and they've all kind of come true. So that's why I think Ron is more of a seer than Harry, begrudgingly, but that's the high level overview.
Yeah, that makes sense with his divination homework and stuff. Yeah,
I mean, Harry's life in a nutshell, you're gonna suffer and be happy about it. That is his life.
Exactly. So. Yeah.
That is and you're gonna get burned.
Well, I mean, eventually, yes, and in the room of requirement, I suppose, but that will be another time.
Yes.
So getting back to the chapter, to the start of the chapter, Harry and Hermione are camping. They're still camping, and they're in a tent. And Hermione is reading the history of magic. So I was looking at that, and it's a very small thing, but sometimes that just you just get curious about small things. I don't remember her ever reading any fiction, so she seems to be always reading textbooks.
No, exactly.
I wonder if they're like wizarding novels, or even whenever she did used to go home for holidays. I know it's been a while. Does she go to the library there, to just the public library, and borrow some books, or go with her parents, bring her to the bookshop and she buys some, Muggle novels or something? Because I feel like she loves reading, but I never see her reading any actual novels.
You could stock up on a pile of 15 books for some light reading over the holidays, maybe.
Yeah, and especially with the little bag, with the beaded bag. I mean, it's not like it gets any heavier if she puts more books in it.
I think it might get heavier, but she has room for them at the very least. I actually don't know. Yeah, I think at one point they say it's like it seemed like surprisingly. I don't know if they're saying that the sound it made when she put it down made it seem like it was heavier. I'm not sure if we ever know if it's heavier than a normal bag, because she's usually the one carrying it. But yeah, I think Hermione, unfortunately, would think that fiction was a waste of time, because, and maybe she could age out of this, but I feel like at least at this point in her life, she's sort of like, I need to prove to everyone that I know everything, and her goal is to know everything possible and to be as informed as possible. So I could see her sort of, if she's not learning facts, then she would probably see it as not worth her energy. So yeah, I don't think she does read fiction.
I agree with that. I think she reads nonfiction primarily.
Yeah.
Which could also be part of why she gets the Tales of Beetle the Bard as a gift from Dumbledore, because it's an encouragement to read
something, Hermione.
Yes, but read something.
That's not a textbook, please.
Yes.
Just one thing.
But also because the children's stories in the Tales of Beetle the Bard are so important to wizarding culture and society that, of course, she hasn't really gone into it, but it is important to her overall knowledge of the wizarding world. And we have a really long discussion about this actually in the episode 78, I believe, Shakespeare is cancelled.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting. And we do actually see that when Hermione does read this fiction book, she takes the messages of it very much to heart. Her interpretation of A Tale of Three Brothers is very, she is seeing what is the sort of moral of this story. The moral is that these objects like the Elder Wand and the Resurrection Stone are alluring, but they're dangerous, and that we should not try to find them. They are not good for you, etc. And, you know, I think she, more so than the other two, is like, okay, I am reading this story. There is a clear moral. This is what we're supposed to get out of it. And I think that Dumbledore knew that that's what she would take from the story. And he kind of says that he sort of counts on that she is going to be keeping Harry from going all in on trying to find the Deathly Hallows.
If we were to recommend a fiction book for Hermione to like stretch her horizons a little, what would you guys recommend?
Ooh, that's a big question. I don't have an exact book off the top of my head, but I would want a story where the main character is kind of messy and doesn't do things perfectly, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And I'd want her to see that represented.
Listeners, if you have something in mind for Hermione to read, leave it in the comment, because I'm quite curious. I'm going to keep that in mind and see if I can come up with something. Because I feel like the girl needs a good book club.
That's a cute idea.
There's only so many times you can read Hogwarts: A History.
Hogwarts needs a book club.
Agreed.
Yeah.
They might have one. We just never hear about it.
Yeah, she probably
Yeah.
wouldn't go if there was one.
Either she did not know or she ran it.
Yeah.
Or, I think she didn't know, and it was a secret. They kept it a secret from her because they didn't want her.
It's a secret book club.
Yeah.
She would create a book club that would have like the most ridiculous timelines for finishing a book. It would just be like, yeah, we're all going to finish this book by like 2 days from now and then discuss. And everyone would like quit because, yeah.
No, I've been thinking, and I think the book that I would choose would be Alana by Tamora Price.
I love Tamora Pierce.
It's a classic, and it's kind of like she's like Alana's kind of like taking control of her own life and steering her own destiny, and like not being fitting into the mold that she's being asked to fill, which is maybe a good lesson for Hermione to learn.
That sounds good.
But yeah, otherwise her comfort, listening is Hogwarts history and history of magic. So she's definitely a bit of an armchair general there, maybe.
Well, given how much she seems to like history, maybe some historical novels. Maybe that might be a nice gateway fiction for her.
I would love like magical historical novels, as in like, okay, she's reading history of magic, so like, yeah, like a novel that is written by wizards set at different times in magical history. Those would be amazing.
Yes, I think we actually discussed that in the last episode as well, I think.
Oh, yeah?
As listeners will note, we discussed specifically like travelogues about people's adventures. I think that would be very much Hermione's jam. Like historical nonfiction almost, of people recounting their adventures with dragons and trolls and giants.
Yeah, it's something Lockhart should have done instead of pretending it was him, because he could have been just famous writer or biographer of other people, and that would still get him money and some degree of, well, maybe not fame, but, appreciation.
Yeah.
He wants the dopamine from knowing he stole it.
Lockhart would have made an amazing fiction writer.
Yeah, I mean, actually, if we think about it, Hermione has read fiction, which is all of Gilderoy Lockhart's books. So.
Yeah, but she doesn't know it's fiction until it's too late.
And I guess that is proof of the travelogue still being a major kind of literary form for the Wizarding World because of Lockhart. Wonderful. We answered that question.
That is true. That is true. So continuing on the little scene in the tent, there is a mention of Sneakoscope being silent, even though both Harry and Hermione are hearing suspicious noises outside the tent. And I think that's because it's Ron, and Ron is one of them, and he is not suspicious. And that's why Sneakoscope is silent. Otherwise, it wouldn't be.
Yeah.
I just thought it was a nice little background moment.
It could be that. I'm also thinking a little bit about the Horcrux. Maybe trying to make them hear things.
Oh, that's a good point. That's a That's a good point. That's also possible.
But would that be heard by the person not wearing the locket at the time, or would the noises only be heard by the person wearing the locket?
Yeah, I think that we're supposed to believe these noises are Ron. Because like later he says he's like trying to find them, and like Hermione is like, yeah, we thought we heard someone blundering around in the forest. Like, you know, he's clearly not being very subtle. I do agree that if the Horcrux can make you hear things, it would probably only be the person wearing it.
I mean, group hallucinations are a thing, but I think I agree. I think in this case, it's meant to be wrong. It's meant to be wrong. Yeah. Speaking of putting things in the beaded bag, other than books, this is something that always bothered me, and I feel like maybe there's a really obvious explanation that I just never realized. But why not put the Horcrux in the beaded bag instead of wearing it, given that they know it affects everyone badly? What is the advantage?
Okay, so this is a great question, because actually they do.
Do they?
In the chapter before this, or yeah, sorry, 2 chapters before this, when Harry has just had his kind of his like visions of Voldemort and stuff, Hermione says, I couldn't get the Horcrux off you, it was stuck to your chest, I had to use a severing charm, and then Harry asks, where have you put the Horcrux? In my bag. I think we should keep it off for a while. This is really fascinating to me, because we never hear, and this, like, okay, this was 2 chapters ago, but I think it's only supposed to be like a day that's passed in between, maybe 2, but I'd say like a day that's passed. So to me, I'm like, okay, we never hear about Harry going to get the Horcrux back or putting it back on. So when I first noticed this, I was like, this seems like a plot hole. However, personally, I think plot holes are just, you haven't used enough creativity yet. And so I have a better explanation. I think that Harry does not remember going back to put the Horcrux back on. I think that something happened during that time where he was having those visions, and like really in Voldemort's head, this Horcrux was like stuck to his body. It was like that he was sort of having this sort of fusing moment with Voldemort and the Horcrux. And I think that allowed the Horcrux to have a bit more power over him than usual. And I think that Harry went and put the Horcrux back on and doesn't remember it. And also, we can talk about this later, when we see Harry taking off all of his clothes, and then he just says, okay, he was wearing nothing but his underwear. He never mentions before going into the pond that he's still wearing the Horcrux. I don't think he notices. I think he's wearing the Horcrux and does not like even think about taking it off in that moment, because the Horcrux doesn't want him to.
It's very Lord of the Rings, isn't it?
I've never actually read Lord of the Rings, so I can't. No.
Oh, did you not? Oh, okay. So, well, we should do a Lord of the Rings crossover, because there's actually quite a bit of similarity. Yeah. But anyway, they carry, when they bring in the ring to Mordor, I think they also take turns, Frodo and Sam take turns carrying the Ring of Power on the chain, and it also is having a bad effect on them, basically. And the ring wants to be put on and wants to be carried. It doesn't want to be left alone. So the longer you have it on, the more of an effect it has on you, unless you want to give it up.
Creepy. Yeah, that's a great connection. Yeah, I believe the Horcrux very strongly does not want to be left in that beaded bag, and has gotten a taste of having some more sort of going into Harry's psyche, and is and I think it has some similarities to like Ginny in the diary, that she's sort of feeling drawn back towards this diary against her will. And yeah.
I'm also now wondering if Hermione didn't get it off of him with the severing charm, or it was on someone like that for a prolonged period of time. Would it just like fuse to their body?
Ugh. Ugh.
Or like burrow inside them?
Ugh.
Yeah.
I don't think it needs to.
What was it trying to do?
I don't think it needs to. It could be a bit like the diary, draining the life force of the person wearing it.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that probably the reason that it was stuck to him was because Hermione was trying to get it off.
And it didn't want to.
Yes,
come off.
I think that it knew, because, you know, it knew that it had this sort of power in that moment of like making him relive all of these things through Voldemort's perspective and all of that. And it wanted to keep doing that. And Hermione, I think, realizes that it needs to come off. And the more she's trying to get it off, the more it's trying to stay on.
That makes sense.
This is so interesting because we always talk about how much it disproportionately affects Ron, and it affects Harry and Hermione so much less. Well, to be fair, we don't really know much about how it affects Hermione because I think there's not a huge amount in the text. But given what you just said about Harry just sort of not noticing he even has it on, the locket is clearly affecting him a lot, but in a different way.
Yeah.
To Ron.
Yeah.
Because it gives Ron this intrusive thoughts and amplifies them and makes them worse and makes him like ruminate and all of this. While it's not doing this with Harry. With Harry, it's doing something different. But it's not like Harry is in any way immune to it. It's just he's having a different relationship with the locket, so to speak.
Yeah.
So now I wonder in what way was it affecting Hermione, and we just don't know.
Right. I mean, I think the fact that Harry has this piece of Voldemort's soul in him is affecting the way it's affecting him, because I think, for one thing, he is used to pushing that away. Like, he's used to not engaging with that thing that's been living in him. But I think we see, like, one of the things he says is, like, you know, when he's wearing it, his scar is prickling more, like, you know. And I think that in that moment in Godric's Hollow, that piece of Voldemort's soul in him sort of came to the forefront because he was suddenly around all of these different parts of Voldemort's soul. So he's there, he has the Horcrux on, Nagini's there, and then Voldemort is showing up, like, at that moment. And so all of those things are coming together. They're coming together at the place where this traumatic memory happened. And it's a traumatic memory for both Harry and for Voldemort. So it's, like, really coming to the forefront. And so I think, in general, Harry is pretty experienced with not engaging with Voldemort's soul pieces, whatever. But in that moment, like, they're all coming together, and he is just, like, overcome by it.
Yeah.
And you also had another connection, Sophia, with the cloak sounds, that it reminds Harry of what happened in book one.
Right. So now he is Harry is on watch, and he's hearing all these sounds. Says he remembered the sound of a cloak slithering over dead leaves many years ago, and at once he thought he heard it again before mentally shaking himself. And he's referring back to when he was in the Forbidden Forest, when they were looking for the unicorn back in the first book. And I think that's a really telling comparison. So we're back in a forest, and I think we have this sort of ring theory here where we have two different servants of Lord Voldemort who are in the forest. So before, when he heard the cloak, it was Quirrell. And this time, we don't know, is it Ron or is it Snape? I think maybe Snape, because at this exact moment, it's kind of right before the Doe comes. I think that Snape is sort of figuring out where to, figuring out, like, what to do in that moment. So I kind of like the idea for ring theory that we have these two servants, but one of which in that moment is being loyal to Voldemort and destroying this beautiful, innocent thing. And then on the other hand, this servant who has turned against him and is trying to help Harry fight Voldemort.
I mean, as far as we know, Ron isn't wearing a cloak, so if Harry's hearing the sound of a cloak, it must be Snape, yes.
It's much more Snape-like to just always be wearing a cloak, whereas I think that they have mainly been in Muggle clothing throughout most of this time.
Yeah. So while Harry is on the night watch, so he tells Hermione to go to bed and he will take watch. So he wants to pass some time by looking at the Marauders map and just watching Ginny's dot move around the castle. And then he realizes that it's Christmas holidays and she would be at the Burrow. So that made me think that, oh, look, they've invented smartphone surveillance before the smartphones. It's like, would Ginny mind being watched in this way? I mean, because obviously he can't see her or what she's doing. He can just see the little dot moving around.
Yeah.
And should have Harry left some means of communication with Ginny, or maybe he just thought it's for the best to have a bit of a kind of clean break and she would be safer without him trying to communicate with her. Because there are options.
Yeah.
Not that many options, but some. I mean, I think there is a danger to allowing Ginny to communicate with him, because if anyone figures that out, they could use that to lure him into some sort of trap or, I think it's better if he doesn't. In terms of, like, whether Ginny would mind, like, if I'm just personally putting myself in that situation, I'd say, yeah, in general, like, I'm not someone who likes the sort of, someone's tracking you on your phone or whatever, though plenty of people do it all the time. So, clearly not everyone feels the same way. But I think in this specific situation where, like, she understands that he has no information about what's going on, this is the only way he can just, like, know that she's safe and, like, just have some sort of connection. I don't think she would mind. I think that she would want him to have that. And I think she probably wishes she had that for him. So
yeah, it really makes me think about the two-way mirror that Sirius gave Harry. That would be the solution for this, I think.
Yeah, but I don't know how rare those are. Like, why don't we have more of those?
Yeah, my head just goes back to the danger of it. I do think Ginny would mind. I don't think she would like being watched, even though it is just a dot. But I agree with the whole, if there's any chance that there was contact, that it would be an easy way for them to get to Harry through Ginny or another Weasley until they got the info to get them to Harry or get Harry to come to them.
That is true.
Yeah.
But I don't think, like, it would have stopped him or Voldemort from doing anything if they had, like, the chance. Like, I do think they would have gone for the Weasleys either way, whether or not Harry was secretly in contact with Ginny. Like, it's not going to stop him. He's evil, after all.
I think it would have just made his life easier. Like, he could do it no matter if he wanted to or not. It would just be an easier step for him to take, so he has to do less work.
Yeah, that is true.
Voldemort's lazy. He gets other people to do his work for him.
Lazy and evil.
That's the worst combination, isn't it?
Very much
lazy and evil. I think actually being hardworking and evil, it's much scarier.
And that's true. He probably would get a lot more done, which we don't want him to do, given the, evilness thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Harry is sitting there by the tent and he is on the verge of falling asleep. And he sees this silver light and he has this gut feeling that he needs to follow it.
Like an idiot.
Well,
we will agree to disagree. Go on.
So Taavi has strong feelings about Harry. An idiot for sure. But it does work out okay. And this is where the connection with the Arthurian legends starts coming in. very strongly. So I'm going to again recommend Beatrice's essays. I've learned a ton about Arthurian underpinnings of Harry Potter, especially in this chapter. I have heard about this before, just from the point of view of the Weasley family names, like Arthur, Percival, Ginevra, all being of kind of Arthurian knights and legends origin. But I did not realize that white deer are actually quite significant in those kind of legends. And if you go and read those two essays, there's actually a picture of a real life white stag, which is really cool. It's not pure white and glowing slightly blue like a Patronus should be. It's more kind of like slightly beigey. But it still is very, very cool. And I would like to read a little quote from the essay, if you will indulge me. So the first bit of the quote is the quote from the Mabinogion, which is a collection of Middle Welsh prose stories. And then there is a comment by
I'm so
Beatrice.
glad that you pronounced that and not me, because I would have had no idea. So.
I have looked it up, so I think that's correct. But if we have any Welsh listeners, please correct me. I will be happy to issue an apology about this. Okay. So just to set the scene, Arthur is at court, and this man comes up to him and says, "I am one of thy foresters, Lord, in the forest of Dean. In the forest I saw a stag, the like of which beheld I never yet. He is of pure white, Lord, and he does not herd with any other animal through stateliness and pride, so royal is his bearing." And this is a comment from Beatrice. "Harry's silver white doe turns out to be a perfectly Arthurian beast in location as well as color. She is a deer of otherworld whiteness who leads the hero away through the forest on an adventure meant only for him, just as in so many other medieval tales. But not only this, even the forest through which she leads him is the right one. Harry, like Arthur in the Mabinogion, is led out on a quest by a white deer through the forest of Dean." How cool is that?
Very cool.
It's a really cool parallel.
Very, very cool. I love that.
And of course, I can build on this by saying it is a search for a sword.
Yeah.
Go from only one true king to only a true Gryffindor.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, King Arthur's Cave, which is actually featured in Guy Ritchie's movies, the King Arthur one, is located by the River Wye, which is, of course, on the border of the Forest of Dean.
That's very cool.
So there's so many Arthurian overlaps here.
Yeah.
It's quite amazing.
That's amazing.
And apparently Rowling either does or used to live nearby.
Mm-hmm.
And the word Tuts Hill came up, which would explain where the Tuts Hill Tornadoes, the Quidditch team, comes from. Apparently it's her local team. So there we go.
Really? That's funny. I didn't know that. Yeah. And I mentioned this briefly before, but I think we have this Silver Doe and we had the silvery unicorn before in book 1, and I think they both have this sort of representation of something innocent and good and beautiful that's living in this forest that's sort of drawing Harry in on this adventure. But with this sort of ring, in the first book we see it being destroyed by something evil, whereas here it's leading Harry to something that he can use to kill that evil.
Yeah. It's a redemption arc for the unicorn.
Yep.
Getting its revenge.
Yeah, that's a good point. This brings us nicely to the 7 ingredients of today's special, which is the Arthurian legend elements present in this chapter, according to me. So if you would like to correct me, please do.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
So what I have here is, well, I wrote down sword in the lake. It's not actually in the lake, it's in a pool. So, sword in the water.
Yes.
1.
It's a question of size.
Courage, chivalry, conditions of need and valor, as Dumbledore tells us. The noble quest, that's 5. And mysterious white deer, that's 6. And the forest of Dean itself, that's 7. 7 ingredients. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think that's good.
Yeah.
I think that fits nicely with one thing that I was sort of noticing. So, and white stags can sort of or white deer can sort of symbolically represent also just like a search for like spiritual knowledge in general. And we have this moment where right before the deer disappears, it says, he, as in Harry, broke into a run, a question burning in him, but as he opened his lips to ask it, she vanished. And what do you guys think the question was?
I think he wanted to know what message he was carrying, because I think he assumed it was going to either be from the DA or the Order, who use Patronuses as messages. So instead of the message being leading him to the sword, I think he thought someone was going to speak to him through the Patronus.
Yeah. I think that, like, if I had to put my finger on, like, a specific question, I think it would be sort of, who sent you? But I kind of like the fact that we don't know what the question is, because it kind of allows the question to be something bigger, like a more like spiritual question that is sort of burning in him, but like, you know, it's like a search for something that he can't quite get, which is often the sort of the search through the forest for this white deer is often like there's this elusive thing that you're trying to catch but you never can quite catch, which sort of represents the search for spiritual knowledge. Yeah.
And also in Chronicles of Narnia, I think there's a bit where the Pevensies follow, like, they're hunting a white stag, and it brings them to the bit in the forest where they go through and they come out back in their world through the wardrobe again.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think white animals in general have been mythologized in many cultures, and this could be part of it.
I can confirm that.
Yeah, because they're so unusual, so they're kind of associated with this magical adventure. Because there's the White Rabbit in Alice in Wonderland as well, and I'm sure there's many more.
In Sinixt and Salish cultures, if we're going into like First Nations in Canada, there is what we call a spirit bear, which is a white bear. And that, of course, is not a polar bear. Very different. It is an albino brown bear or grizzly. And called spirit bear. So there's like a worship there as well. So it's, of course, I'm not an expert, but it's a bit of an overlap as well.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
And we in Expecto Patronum, we usually do have a mythology section for each animal we're covering, and white is a common color in mythological animals or mythological stories for animals. It's a thread we see quite a lot.
Have you covered the doe and the stag yet?
We did. I'm pretty sure that was in our first season, because we did our white stag, and that we did a stag or a doe, and then the next episode was analyzing familial ties within the Patronus itself.
That's really a perfect companion chapter for the Patronus.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember exactly what episode it was, and it's driving me nuts that I can't.
What is your Patronus, Stephanie, just out of interest?
So, part of the podcast, we all had to retake it. So the first time I took it, I got a ragdoll cat. I'm not a cat person. Cute. Wasn't thrilled. And the second time I took it, I got a weasel.
Okay.
Well, that's Weasley family. That's good.
Yes, that is Arthur Weasley's Patronus. So I'm more okay with Weasel because of that, because the Weasley twins are my boys. I love Fred and George. So I'm good with being in that family, but I was like, I don't know what that says about my character, that it's a weasel.
Well, weasels within the Harry Potter universe, the weasel is supposed to be like in a mythological setting, like the weasel like kills snakes and so is representing like can represent like protection against evil. So I would say within the mythological sense, a weasel is a pretty great Patronus.
That makes me feel much better. And yes, we did cover the deer. It is season 1, episode 15 of Expecto Patronum.
If you want to, we can link to that in our show notes in case people want to hear your guys' analysis.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I have the overall website, but I'll also grab that link specifically.
And I think it's also quite interesting that there's no Weasleys in Slytherin. Maybe this is the reason?
They hate those snakes.
Oh, I like that.
No
I like
weasels
that a
near
lot.
snakes.
Maybe they should have put one in Slytherin, and then there wouldn't be any Slytherins because the weasels would have eaten them all.
Boom.
We do not approve the killing of children on this podcast.
Thank you.
We do
Thank
not
you.
approve the killing of anybody on the podcast.
Yes, this is entirely metaphorical.
Yes.
The Weasleys would have converted all the mean Slytherins into nice Slytherins. So
We can convert them to Huffpuffs.
Speaking of metaphors, attempting a segue, getting back to some of the ring theory. So I think this moment when Harry first sees the sword in the pool, to me, evokes that first Christmas, like I said, at Hogwarts, where he sees the Mirror of Erised. And for Harry, that the Mirror of Erised, he is seeing his parents on the other side. He's seeing his family. It is representing that he is separated from his parents by this mirror. In a lot of mythological settings, mirrors are representing kind of like the veil is used to represent a separation between the physical world and the spiritual world. Mirrors can also be used to represent that, and we see that throughout the series. The mirror with Sirius, and then he uses it to see Dumbledore in that mirror. So that mirror is representing this division between him and his parents because they're on the other side of that. And this throughout the series, it's just his the real tragedy of the fact that he's separated from his parents by that mirror or veil. And we have this moment when he's first looking down at the sword, and it says, "The ice reflected his distorted shadow in the beam of wand light. But deep below the thick, misty gray carapace, something else glinted, a great silver cross." So I like the way the ice is reflecting. So it's kind of acting like a mirror in this moment. But then also there is something beyond. And in both the first and seventh book here, we have that there's something beyond the mirror that Harry needs to physically get. So in the first book, there's the Sorcerer's Stone. In this book, it's the sword, and it's this physical object, but it's spiritually significant. So with the Sorcerer's Stone, it's representing, for one thing, for Harry, the fact that he is sort of pure of heart enough to be able to get that stone when Voldemort and Quirrell cannot, because he doesn't plan to use it. But also represents a sort of spiritual alchemy. So alchemy in the physical realm is sort of you're turning lead into gold, but a lot of alchemists talked about sort of the spiritual purification of you're sort of turning yourself from lead into gold. So I think that sort of him getting that Sorcerer's Stone is the sort of spiritual alchemy. And then here he's getting this sword, but when he sees it there, he doesn't say, it was the sword of Gryffindor. He says a great silver cross. So it has that more religious undertone to what he's seeing. And for both of these objects, there's that like ruby coloring to them. The red Sorcerer's Stone. Here, he talks a lot about like the rubies glinting on the sword. And in alchemy, the final stage in the alchemical process, there are 3 stages that represent different colors. So it's black, white, and red. And red is that final stage. So Ruby Doe is what it's called, but so this book, okay, this is getting into all the literary alchemy, but Deathly Hallows is sort of considered the red book, the sort of final stage that Harry has to go through in his spiritual alchemy. So he is seeing these ruby colored sword, and that's part of his alchemical journey is getting that.
I also really like this because of the parallel between the family aspect of it. So the first time he sees the Mirror of Erised, it's his parents.
Yeah.
And he can't get to his parents. And the second time, it's the Sword of Gryffindor. And he's really found a family and community within Gryffindor. And this time he actually can break through the mirror to get to that family. And it is that family that pulls him out of the pool of water to save him.
I love that.
That is lovely.
That Ron is the one who saves him, his family. Oh, I love that so much. That's great. I find it really interesting, Harry takes off the pouch. This also, I think, speaks to me to the fact that he doesn't even notice that he's wearing the Horcrux, because he takes off the pouch around his neck but doesn't take off the Horcrux. Like, I think he doesn't know that it's there. So he takes off the pouch, and then it says, with his wand, his mother's letter, the shard of Sirius's mirror, and the old snitch in it.
Mm.
And I think it's very significant that those are named in that moment. And I think they are all sort of representing things that he can't have anymore. His wand is broken. It was the spiritual connection is broken. His mother's letter, Sirius mirror, and inside the snitch, although he doesn't know it yet, is the resurrection stone, which sort of allows him to go past that veil. So these are all sort of representing things that have died or representing death, and that sort of pain he feels at the separation, and that he chooses to sort of put that aside, and then he physically tears through that barrier. So it says the surface of the pool broke and chunks of dark ice rocked on the ruffled water. So he's like destroying that. And I think it's interesting. So he is sort of venturing into this more spiritual realm. And I wonder whether the Horcrux, as it is sort of the spirit world, has more power in this space. And, is trying to kill him, and maybe has more power to do so because of where he is in this sort of spiritual liminal space. But also, I think it's interesting he's entered into the other side of the veil, and that because of the Horcrux, he might be pulled in there for good. Like, he might, against his will, be pulled on to the other side of the veil. But I think this moment in this forest really mirrors or predicts the moment in the later forest when he also sort of goes to the other side of the veil when Voldemort kills him. But at that point, he is able to choose to come back because he's gotten rid of those Horcruxes that are holding him back, and he can choose to come back. Whereas here he has to sort of be pulled back. He doesn't have that ability to choose on his own. And I think that there's something sad for Harry, like when he chooses to leave behind the world beyond the veil, like to him, like I think for us we might be like, oh, it's good he doesn't die, like okay, that's good. But for Harry it's like he is losing something every time he chooses to come back into this physical world.
Mm-hmm.
And we sort of saw that in the first book too, that Harry is like kind of getting sucked in of just wanting to see his parents over and over. And Ron actually tells him then, like, you should stop going to see the mirror. And here we see Harry's getting sucked in, not of his own choice, but because of the Horcrux, and Ron is the one sort of pulling him back out again. But that it's hard for Harry to come back when he kind of enters into that spiritual realm.
I'm not sure it's quite the same with the Locket, because Locket is actively trying to strangle him, and that's why he can't come out.
Yeah.
Presumably because the Locket is feeling the closeness of something that can destroy it. That's the Sword of Gryffindor, and because it starts doing that once they're in the water, and I don't think the pool is particularly deep. It's because I think Harry says it's deep enough that he has to completely submerge, but it's not very deep that he has to swim.
Yeah.
Also, random tangent, but not random tangent because it's on par. You said that the Locket knows something that is near it that can destroy it. Can the bits of Horcrux communicate with each other to know that the sword killed the basilisk, so it has the basilisk's venom in it, which means it's a threat to the Locket? The Horcruxes communicate?
I think it might just be
or
intrinsic.
is it like Harry knows that the I think it might be more likely that Harry knows that this sword can destroy it. So the part of the Horcrux that's in him knows that, and that part has now been in deep communication with the Horcrux he's wearing, because they have had all of that contact with each other. So I wonder if it's like the piece of the Horcrux in him is communicating with the thing in the Locket.
So yes, Horcruxes communicate. They just need a human vessel to do so.
I think they are communicating here.
Or the Horcrux is communicating directly with Harry.
Right. Or it just like has been exposed to enough of Harry's soul to be able to understand what Harry's trying to do.
So, to circle back to what you were saying, Sophia, about the alchemy and passing beyond the veil, willingly. This is a bit of a side tangent. I didn't think of before.
That's what we're here for.
But we were talking about alchemists, and and that whole thing about, I mentioned gold and everything, but the real thing that alchemists were after turning things into gold and to find the elixir of life is, of course, the Philosopher's Stone. And with the whole discussion of the Mirror of Erised, I'm thinking that the main requirement for achieving a Philosopher's Stone could be the same one that Dumbledore placed on the mirror. That you do not want it to achieve eternal life.
Interesting.
If you're searching it for the search, you can find the Philosopher's Stone. If you're searching for eternal life, you cannot.
Gosh, that's very Ravenclaw.
Right.
Well, I am Ravenclaw.
No, I think that's beautiful because it sort of so the idea that there's this spiritual quest that's going on to purify yourself, and also at the same time there's this physical quest to create the Philosopher's Stone, and that the idea of like you spiritually getting to this point of like maybe that you are accepting the fact that death is like part of life, or you're like there is some way that you are spiritually accepting something, and then you get the thing that you no longer need.
Yeah.
And I think we see that like with Harry when he becomes Master of Death with the Deathly Hallows. It's after he's no longer searching for them that he gets all three of the Hallows. And I think that's beautiful. I really, really love that.
So there's the phrase for the third Peveril brother of greeting death like an old friend. And there's a wonderful book called The Tibetan Book of Death and Dying, which my father made me read many, many years ago, on death and dealing with it. And I really, really think that this could be the path of the Philosopher's Stone, is accepting that you will die, regardless of whether or not you find the stone, you will die at the end. It's kind of, which is also what Nicholas Flamel did. He didn't panic and scream and cry. He set his affairs in order, and he died after 400 and something years. And there is this...
He still got to extend his life a fair bit, though.
Couple centuries, yeah.
That he was able to do that because...
he knew he would die.
Yeah, and I think that shows his strength, his strength of character of... and I think that we see that with Harry, he greets death without fighting it. And then he does survive. He comes back from beyond that veil and makes that choice to come back. And I think that is something that we see throughout the story is if you're doing it for the right reasons, you can sort of transcend even something that feels impossible, like escaping death, at least for a time.
And there is this idea in Buddhism as well about reincarnation. In Tibet it's called Rinpoche, the reincarnated souls coming back again and again. The Dalai Lama, let's not connect him too much to Harry Potter, but this idea of when you accept your mortality, you can come back and be reincarnated again and again. I'm kind of seeing that as a part of this. I like that. I really do. It gives the whole Philosopher's Stone hunt a lot more grounding and balance compared to the just desire for money and to not die. Can't be scared of death if you're going to find the Philosopher's Stone. You have to be wanting the new adventure.
And it really kind of highlights, with Voldemort, he is afraid of death, and he's trying to do everything in his power, including creating Horcruxes, which by the way, it's very difficult. I think it's very difficult to make any judgments about how they actually work because it's such a unique form of magic that's only maybe... It's not clear whether it's been done since it was originally done by the creator of them. And then when Voldemort did it, he split it so many times that it was beyond anything that was attempted before, that it's so unique and so presumably not studied that really it's very difficult to make any kind of predictions or explanations of how they work. I wonder if maybe in the future, in the Department of Mysteries, there is some kind of a super secret department where they're allowed to somehow work on the Horcruxes to figure out how they actually work. But obviously you would want to keep this really secret because you don't want it getting out. But that could be like a fun spin-off thing that I would read or watch.
It might depend on which Horcruxes you're experimenting on, though.
Yeah, because it's tricky to get the ones that are still in operation. but anyway, so while Voldemort was so afraid of death, he created 7, not just one Horcrux, but 7 of them. And he'd gone through all of this and caused so much chaos and death and ruin in the wizarding world. And he didn't even live that long.
No.
Given how long we know Dumbledore lived, and if he, he didn't die of natural causes, at all or of old age. So it's not clear how old a healthy wizard can actually live. So without all of this, Voldemort probably would have lived longer.
Yeah.
Yeah, my best guess for a wizarding lifetime is between 2 and 250. 200 and 250 years, that is. Because we know that
Which is a good run.
Well, we know that Aunt Muriel is speaking of being an adult while Dumbledore is still a teenager at Hogwarts. Same thing with Philip Bagshot. So
I think we actually know Muriel's age because at one point she says like I'm 100 something, tells like some Weasley kid to stand up because she's 100 but she's not crazy old, to be honest. I would have thought maybe that it was more like 150 or something like that was the normal for wizards, because we don't really hear of any wizards living much older than that.
But Voldemort died in his 70s, didn't he? So
right, no.
Was
so
even,
he's just
he could have lived even for Muggles. That's not super late.
Yeah.
So really quick, Googled it. It says, and this is just the wiki, so it's not sure how reliable, but the Harry Potter fandom wiki says that Muriel was born between 1889 and 1890.
Yeah.
That's the first one I pulled up.
She stated she was 107 years old in 1997.
Mm-hmm.
So she's not like that crazy old.
no.
Yeah, 107. Yep.
And I think she's the oldest person other than Nicholas Flamel that we have like her age written out, but I'm not 100% sure on that. But anyway, back to the topic at hand. Yeah.
Yeah. So Harry jumps into the pool and he is getting strangled by the Horcrux, and then Ron pulls him out.
Yeah. What you were just saying of the sort of the Voldemort's fear of dying, and we see like this sort of Harry's bravery jumping into the pool versus like this fear that the Horcrux has, and that's like what's doing battle here is like the bravery and the fear, which I think is a sort of beautiful symbolism. But before Harry jumps, he felt for the blade with his numb feet, and
ouch.
Yeah, I'm like, what are you doing here?
How did he not cut himself?
Like, what are you doing? And
see, these are the choices he makes that make me question his gut.
Yeah. Well, to me, what's so funny about this is the scene that always like makes me scream at the television when I'm watching Harry Potter is in the second movie when Dumbledore hands him the sword of Gryffindor and he like grabs the blade like with his bare hands, and I'm like, what are you doing, Harry? Like, why do you like? So this I think is like a funny like, wow, like even in book world, even as a 17-year-old, Harry has not gotten much smarter than that. Yeah, also I don't really understand how deep this pool is supposed to be, because I'm like, if he can stand,
So I'm thinking like chest height.
then why is he drowning?
I don't think he can stand. I think it's there. He has to submerge himself completely, but he's not touching the bottom of the pool, and I think he is kind of drowning. Well, I mean, the Horcrux trying to strangle him aside. It's freezing water. I think the way is going to affect you when you're submerged in freezing water is what's probably causing a lot of issues.
I mean, it also could be like, I think he sort of dives, so I think he's like going head first, and so like in order to get himself upright, that certain amount of energy when you're also trying to pull something off that's trying to strangle you. Also, you just like flail and panic in that situation. But to me, I'm kind of like, how deep is this? I can't really tell.
I've always pictured as being about like chest height. Like he can stand up, but he can't reach the sword without going under.
Why doesn't he just pick it up with his feet?
Yeah, I think in that case, like, yeah, or I would sort of like squat. Like I wouldn't dive. Like I would kind of just squat but I think he says it reaches to his shoulders. Or what do we have here? I think he does say something that made me think.
I'm not sure he'd have the dexterity to do it with his feet in cold water.
I mean, especially with
when he's not entirely sure exactly where it is, and it would be heavy.
But just getting your foot under it and like trying to like lift it to your hand.
Yeah.
I feel like wouldn't be that difficult in even freezing water. But then again, I've never been submerged in completely freezing water.
I think it really depends on the person, because some people can't pick up things with their feet and others can. I've seen it's quite fun.
Mm-hmm.
It says he was submerged to his shoulders. So I wonder if maybe, like, he can kind of reach the bottom on his tiptoes or something, and he's sort of, like, feeling around with his tiptoes and then is like, okay, I have to dive.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah, so probably not the side of the blade where it's sharp, but like the top of the blade if it's kind of lying flat at the bottom of the pool.
Yeah,
that's kind of how I was picturing
still
it.
wouldn't want to risk it, but yeah. But his feet might be so numb, he might not even notice if he cuts himself until he comes out.
Yeah, also he's in peril. He's in peril. He needs to do this quickly. I think he's not really thinking.
Well, yeah, like he said he could barely, he's like, he could hardly breathe. The air in his lungs seemed frozen solid. Every pore of his body screamed in protest. Yeah, I don't think his brain is working in this moment.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, so when he comes out, when Ron pulls him out again, Ron is like, wait, I thought you sent the Patronus. And Harry says, no, my Patronus is stag. Oh yeah, I thought it looked different, no antlers. I kind of think that this might have been put in here as sort of like a little bit of a, that's interesting. Harry's, like, as a sort of clue to the reader to think more about it, of like, Harry's Patronus is very similar.
Mm-hmm.
His is a stag, this is a doe. How could this be connected to Harry? You know, I feel like that is definitely sort of, like, we've just had this dramatic moment that might, like, have brought our attention away from it, and it sort of brings us back to thinking, like, that's an interesting connection.
Especially when you think back to the movie and Ron does his little, like,
with the antlers,
movement with the freaking sword in one hand and the Horcrux in the other, so he doesn't have all of his fingers, but he's trying to make antlers. He's also funny.
Another something I found interesting as a sort of ring was so I think that this scene is not just a ring for Harry from the Mirror of Erised, but also for Ron.
Yeah.
So we have so Ron is holding the sword in one hand and the locket in another. And we have this quote, Ron looked down at his hands. He seemed momentarily surprised to see the things he was holding. To me, this reminds me of when Ron is in front of the Mirror of Erised and he's describing what he sees, and he's like, I'm holding the house cup and the Quidditch cup. And, like, you know, he is all of this sort of, he's holding or has on him all of these different signs of sort of his success, his, you know, status, etc. And then we have that sort of paralleled with this moment where he doesn't have those, like, signs of success, but he has this, like, something more important, which is the sword that he's just taken from the water. It's like but then he also has the Horcrux in the other hand. So he has this sort of choice of which is he going to choose. Is he going to choose those insecurities that he saw in that mirror? Or is he going to choose, like, this sword that he just got and that sort of proves his worth? Like, the sword is his real worth. And then the Horcrux is sort of all of those insecurities.
Yeah, so the locket is kind of almost like a dark version of Mirror of Erised, because Mirror of Erised was showing him his heart's desire, while the locket is showing him all of his insecurities.
Yeah. And, like, they're tied together by the same thing, which is, like, his desires stemmed from his insecurities. So it's like, yeah, the insecurities is like the thing tying those two things together. And the desires is, like, on the surface, the positive side of it. It's the, like, these are all the things you want. You think, oh, like things I want. That's, exciting. That's good. But it's coming from this darker place. And so it's not a it's not a desire that's actually going to serve him. And so he has to sort of let go of that.
I mean, I don't think his desires in the Mirror of Erised are particularly, inappropriate for somebody who grew up in a large family. Because what he really wants is he just wants to be seen to be successful as himself, as opposed to just kind of lost in the crowd of other more successful children.
Even in the Mirror of Erised, he's has all of the layers of his brother's accomplishments, and he's coming out on top because he's done them all, which ties back to those insecurities of him not doing enough to stand out.
Yeah, I think that it's not so much like I think what you said was sort of he wants to be seen as successful for himself, but like he is not, the version of himself that he sees in that mirror is not really who Ron is. Like Ron, like I don't think Ron is actually an ambitious person, as in like for himself. I think he wants people to notice him and to like him. But I don't think he actually like cares about being like, he doesn't care about being head boy. Like Percy and like Hermione love the sort of the actual, like when Ron becomes a prefect, he's like, wait, I'm supposed to actually do stuff as a prefect. Like he does not care about being a prefect, like he doesn't care about these things. He just cares about like what other people will think about him having these things. So I think that he needs to let go of them. Like, I don't think there's anything in that mirror that is like, it is wrong for a person to want those things. Like, I don't think it's wrong for someone to want to be successful at Quidditch or be the head boy or whatever. I just don't think it's what Ron actually, I don't think it's something that matters to Ron other than the fact that he's insecure.
I mean, he does enjoy Quidditch, to be fair. I think we're a little bit unfair to Ron here.
No, he hates Quidditch. No. He hates Quidditch.
But even in his Quidditch, he's still very self-conscious in his ability to be a keeper, to play the game, to be a good player.
Utterly miserable playing Quidditch. I think that I don't think I'm being unfair to Ron. I think it's more like these are the things that he needs to learn about himself, and that I think he does learn about himself in this scene. I think it's actually a really beautiful moment of him letting go of some of that stuff, because I think that Ron needs to find his self-worth that is completely regardless of any type of material success, and that's sort of what he's trying to get in this moment because his whole life he's tied his self-worth to material success, and I think he needs to let go of that.
Yeah, I don't think it's just the material success, it's also the expectations of his family.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think. And because he doesn't get a chance to really find out who he is and what does he want, what does he like, because he's been surrounded by these people, and for all that I like Molly, she is not great at respecting their children's individuality very much. She is really into the whole conventional markers of success, and we can really see that with Ron, even though she loves them all very much. I think she really does.
I agree, and I think that's like sort of part of how part of why he is putting so much emphasis on those sort of markers of success, is because I don't think that he's fully felt from his family that like he is worthy regardless. And
just as he is, as friends of Bridget Jones would say.
Yeah.
Here's Ron, who cannot play Quidditch, but who we love, just as he is.
But like, I think it's also like all of his brothers have their thing. It's the head boy, it's the Quidditch captain, it's the life and soul, the party, the twins. And he's like, I'm a bit of everything, and I'm not nothing of any of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tricky to be an average person sometimes, because...
Sorry?
Yeah.
I said jack of all trades, master of none.
Yeah.
But a master of none is still... a master of
It's
some.
still better than being a master of one.
Yeah, that's the one. I was like, I know the saying, but where is it? Somewhere in my head.
Yeah, the other half of it, the half that people always forget.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I never really thought of myself as a Ron apologist, but maybe I am one. I'm not sure.
Wait, I think I actually am the ultimate Ron apologist. I think everything that I was saying there is like, I think it's very understandable that he has all of these insecurities, and I do think that he needs to, I think that what he sees in the Mirror of Erised is all insecurity related, and that what he's doing here is overcoming that. And I think that's beautiful. I think he does it so beautifully in this scene. So I guess let's get to the destruction of the Horcrux. This is the first time I've ever thought to look this up. Harry mentions a spot underneath a sycamore tree where they will destroy the Horcrux. So I decided to look up the symbolism, and I'm really glad that I did. So a sycamore tree.
And notice Harry knows what the tree is. Just for people,
how? I don't know.
For people who think that Harry's stupid and he never pays attention in class or just doesn't know things, he knows what type of tree sycamore tree is. Do you know what a sycamore tree is?
I don't. It's
I know a lot of people who
all
don't.
The things he could have retained. That's what he picks. Trees.
Clearly it's very
he's into
important
trees.
in this moment.
That's fine.
We want to know. I want to know. What tree was it? It was a sycamore tree. So sycamore tree is mentioned in the Bible. Someone who I don't know how to pronounce his name, Zacchaeus. So he ran ahead and climbed a sycamore tree to see Jesus, who was about to pass that way. So sycamore tree representing the ability to see Jesus in the Bible. We also see it in a lot of different other parts of mythology, spirituality. In Egypt, this ancient Egypt, the sycamore was seen as the tree of life, connecting the earthly realm with the heavens, which I think really makes sense with some of the things we've been talking about of sort of like the physical and the spiritual realms and how they're sort of the two of them are crossing over those boundaries. Symbolizes the power of seeking spiritual enlightenment and the potential for personal transformation. And also known for shedding bark to reveal fresh layers beneath, symbolizing personal evolution, letting go of the old, and embracing change, rebirth, and inner transformation. Which I think is just so beautiful in this moment, because that is exactly what Ron is doing. Personal transformation.
Yeah, that's perfect for Ron.
Being reborn.
Literally.
Also, I thought this last part was very beautiful. Spiritual link to the heavens. It's deeply rooted. Oh, sorry. It's both linked to the heaven, but it's also deeply physically rooted. Offering grounding energy that brings harmony between body, mind, and spirit. And we talk often about, how the trio represent the sort of body, mind, and spirit, and now we have Ron rejoining them and bringing that harmony.
I love this so much
between the three of them.
Oh my god, my brain is exploding right now.
I would love for this to be Ron's new wand wood. I can't remember if we know what Ron's wand is made out of.
It's willow.
But if it is, oh damn! Wish it was sycamore now. Hearing all of this.
Well, maybe at some point, if he needs to get a new wand, maybe it will be a sycamore wand that chooses him. Now that he's gone through this,
fingers crossed.
Maybe. Only time will tell.
Wouldn't that be interesting if you, as an adult, or like as a child, you get your wand when you're 11, right? And then it'd be interesting if there was a particular times in your life where you would go and basically get retested for a wand to see if you needed to change it to something because you've changed as a person.
I'm now thinking of like a driver's license.
And I think ideally your wand grows and changes with you, but like maybe at certain points you go through like such a big transformation that it no longer fits.
Like Tonks with the Patronus there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we do see that Charlie, passes on his wand to Ron, which makes me wonder, why did he choose to get a new wand? I mean, I think the simplest explanation is, when Ron gets his wand, it's like, the unicorn hair is sticking out. I think Charlie just like did not treat his wand well and just like was like, I don't want to have a wand that like is all battered. I should get a new one now that I have my own money. But that being said, another possibility is that there is some big change in Charlie's life. Maybe when he first saw a dragon, I don't know, and suddenly he changes so much so that it doesn't fit him anymore.
Or maybe once your wand becomes more incompatible with you for whatever reason, maybe it just sort of starts naturally to kind of fray and disintegrate a bit.
I like this.
So it doesn't quite fall apart, but it just kind of loses something because you're losing that connection.
Yeah.
I was just thinking here about the proper wand care and maintenance, which Harry does not do. And he feels quite guilty about this.
He does not polish his wand.
He does not polish.
Cedric, however, does polish his wand.
But nobody ever told Harry that he was supposed to do that, This is maybe when you have wizarding parents, they tell you this.
Yeah.
Or maybe Ron would have been seen doing that if he also engaged in proper wand care in his dorm.
Maybe he doesn't.
Does a manual come with your wand? Like, here's a wand. Here's how you care for it.
Like a little leaflet.
Yeah. Should be a manual.
Or something.
Maybe it was in the box when he bought the wand. He'd have a little pamphlet on how to maintain the wand.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how it should be.
Yes.
I was going to say, I like to think that Charlie got so good at magic, he doesn't need a wand anymore, and he went wandless magic.
Oh, wow. That would be bold.
Right.
Very bold.
I think we know that that's not true. I think we do see him with a wand, but
probably.
Also, another possibility is, we see that it can happen where a wand can change allegiance to someone else, and the person who owns it doesn't even know that. So maybe, for some reason, his wand changed allegiance and it just stopped working for him, and he had no idea why, and so he just like went to Ollivander, and Ollivander was like, nothing we can do about it. Guess you need a new wand. I don't know.
What if it stopped working for him because Ron was playing with it and then it picked Ron instead?
That's
like
so
before
cute.
Ron got his own.
That's so cute.
Aww.
I love that, actually. Yeah.
That is very sweet.
Mm-hmm.
That's such a sibling thing.
I would be so angry, though, if that happened to me.
Yeah. No, I would be pissed.
You would never get close to any of my toys ever again. Hands off my wand. Little bloody thief.
So now we have Ron being tormented by the Horcrux. And yeah, this was the first time that I realized some of Ron's insecurities. I mean, there are some that we get to see a lot, but like I didn't know that he was worried about sort of his mom loving Harry more than him, or not wanting him because she wanted a daughter. Those were really new, and I'm really glad that we got to see those in this moment, because clearly they're like so deep and dark that Ron would never say them out loud, so Harry would never know about this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I wonder how much of he might even heard this from extended family and internalized it as a small child, because I know from the people I know who have multiple kids, and whenever somebody has several kids of the same gender, it wouldn't be particularly uncommon to hear people start saying to them, "Oh, are you trying for a girl now?" or
Right.
"Oh, are you trying for a boy now?"
Right.
If they already have maybe like 3 girls or 3 boys. So because you need like the one of the other kind. And given that Molly and Arthur had 6 kids, and then that were boys, and then a daughter, and then no more kids after that.
Right.
I can see why it would bother Ron, and how it would sow a seed in his mind that, you know, he only really exists because they wanted a daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think also, and I really, you know, I am actually a big Ron defender, and I think it's extremely beautiful that Ron is so open with letting his family be Harry's family, and like really pushes for like really like makes this happen from early on, of like, you know, even just like from the first book, he's telling his mom like, yeah, I don't think Harry's gonna get any Christmas presents, like you know, I don't know if he says like, would you send him anything, or just like sort of letting his mom know about what Harry might need, and just like is just very open with like his family is Harry's family. And like I think that's really beautiful, given that maybe underneath the surface he was feeling jealous of the attention that his mom and love his mom was giving to Harry, but like he never shows Harry that. Like he never ever makes Harry feel like, you know, like he never acts like kind of territorial or jealous, or like trying to keep his mom to himself, or like doing anything to sabotage that. And, you know, I think it's so easy for us to only focus on the times that Ron's insecurities get the best of him, versus the times when he does not let them do so.
Ron's heart is his strength. Hermione's strength is her brain. Ron's strength is his heart, and it makes sense that he is so tied to those insecurities, because he leads with it and loves with his whole heart.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he has this nice talk with Harry after he does end up destroying the Horcrux. Has this good talk with Harry where Harry just outright tells him, I love her like a sister. I thought you knew.
Yeah.
And, you know, all the Harmony shippers the world over were like, no. Because, you know, yeah, so that's it. That's that ship ruined. However, we are going to be talking about shipping Harry in February. So stay tuned for that.
So in this moment when Ron destroys the Horcrux, I think that there's some real actually I think throughout this whole chapter there are some good Chamber of Secrets rings. So we got earlier actually Harry, when he's looking down at the sword and he is like remembering the last time the sword came to him, and he asks for help like he did before, and then he is thinking about what Dumbledore told him. Only a true Gryffindor could have pulled that out of a hat. But then in this moment after Ron destroys the Horcrux, what I really think of is the quote that Dumbledore told Harry after Harry pulls the sword out of the hat, which is that Harry is worried he's not a true Gryffindor. He's worried that these parts of himself that are similar to Voldemort mean that that there's something wrong with him, and that he shouldn't actually be a Gryffindor. He should actually be a Slytherin. And then Dumbledore says, it is our choices that show what we truly are, far more than our abilities. And I think with Ron here, like I was saying before, he has in one hand this Horcrux representing the sort of the parts of him that, you know, might be pulling him in directions that are less brave, less true to him, less good. And then he has that sword, the sword of Gryffindor, and that he is choosing. I think what's really powerful here is, you know, the Horcrux is telling him all of his biggest insecurities, and he is choosing, I don't want to listen to them anymore. He's choosing to, like, I think one of the biggest things motivating him to destroy the Horcrux in that moment is, I don't want to hear this anymore. Like, stop telling me these horrible things. And I think that that's actually really powerful, that I think all of us have to make those choices of, you know, all deal with insecurities, and we get to decide, are we going to listen to them? Are we going to give credence to them, or are we not? And he chooses, no, I'm not going to listen to these things anymore. And I'm not going to pay attention to them. I'm not going to let them control my actions. And then he stabs. And I think this quote I actually love even more for Ron than for Harry, because this is something that Ron has struggled with, as we've been talking about, is that he is not someone who is super duper talented in any one area. He has been very focused on his abilities as like a mark of who he is. He's been like, I'm not good at this like this person is. I'm not good at that like that person is. And I think that this is the first time that he is fully sort of living into, but I can make good choices. I'm a good person. I'm a loving person. I'm a caring person. And like, that's what matters, not my skills.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is something that's really good to remember in an age of social media, where you are comparing yourself to so many people.
Totally.
Ron's lesson here is very valuable.
Yeah. And we see, like, literally, like, he's breaking those, like, there's the glass of the Horcrux, the little windows where the eyes were. So he's physically breaking that. And to me, it kind of mirrors, or it kind of represents he's overcoming those insecurities from the Mirror of Erised. We see all this sort of glass and things that are mirroring here, and he's destroying it.
Yeah, I like that.
So as Ron vanquishes the Horcrux and has the talk with Harry, he also apologizes to him for his behavior in recent times. And I thought it was very reminiscent of his apology to Harry in Goblet of Fire after the first task. And I really like the quote from Harry from this chapter we're discussing, that it kind of ends their heart-to-heart with Ron, which really they should have had a long time ago. But, better late than never. Communication is good, people. If anything we can take away from this chapter is that communication is good. Don't compare yourself to other people, as Taavi had said.
Yep.
But then Harry says, stuff like that always sounds cooler than it really was, said Harry. I've been trying to tell you that for years. That's after Ron's been saying, after Harry tells Ron that, look at what you've done, at this amazing thing you've done. And Ron says, well, it didn't feel that great, but yeah.
Yeah.
Stuff like that always sounds cooler than it really was.
I think that's I really love that, especially sort of tying into what we've just been talking about, of like that the things that Ron is really good at are often not the like flashy things. Like they are like his skills and what he's bringing to the table are like, yeah, they're not the sort of the things that get the most attention for being super cool. But that doesn't mean that they aren't absolutely essential. And I think that, yeah, like Ron doesn't really feel like a hero in this moment, but he really is. Like, he's just done a lot of heroic things, but yeah, like just because something doesn't look or seem super cool doesn't mean that, or like even to yourself, even if you're looking at yourself, like he's looking at himself and he's like, well, I don't know, I don't feel that heroic, I don't seem that cool, but that doesn't mean that you're not being a hero to the people around you.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I think it's great that Harry tells that to Ron, because that's what Harry also says to other people when he says that, I usually have help and there's a lot of luck, and really, I'm not as amazing as you all think I am. And it's very similar. When you're doing a hard thing, it just feels hard. And it's only looking back at it when people can say, oh, this was a really cool thing.
We have great evidence here.
Yeah.
considering Harry almost just died from strangulation. It's like, now he's saved.
Yeah, and he's wet. He's wet and freezing, wearing 5 sweaters in the middle of the forest.
Yeah.
Not very glamorous, really.
Yeah, no, it's not.
Well, let's let Harry and Ron get back to the tent and to some warmth. And who do they see there? They see Hermione. And is she delighted to see Ron and just throws herself at him to hug him and tell him how much she missed him and how glad she is to see him? Does she do that?
Nope.
No, they have the massive screaming fight, which is hilarious. And that really
She doesn't
put me
throw
in
herself
mind.
at him. She throws other things at him.
Oh, yes, she does throw things. That's true. They did remind me of the Molly and Arthur arguing with each other. And
The whole other can of worms.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what exactly makes it feel like Molly and Arthur versus just like any other 2 people yelling at each other?
well, I don't think they're the only people who yell at each other. I think they're the couple that we see yelling at each other, and we see Molly especially yelling a lot, and that's why she's the first person who sort of
Yeah. To me,
comes to mind.
I feel like Ron, okay, in this case, like Hermione is like giving it to Ron, and Ron is arguing back a little bit, but mostly just taking it, but like as he should, because he's the one who f***ed up. But like in general, I feel like Ron and Hermione have more of a give and take than Arthur and Mrs. Weasley have, because I think usually it's Mrs. Weasley's the one yelling and Arthur is like diffuse. Like even here we have like Ron sort of arguing back with Hermione. Like there's a moment where he sort of argues back and Harry is like, he was happy to see Ron like showing a little bit of fight or whatever. Like I think that Ron, like he is sort of giving back as well. He's not just letting her, just like completely bulldoze him here.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. It's not identical, but there's kind of like echoes. And I think there is some kind of a psychological theory that, people tend to kind of end up with partners that in some way resemble their parents.
Yeah, and it's not a psychological theory I like, so I am not going to give it much credence.
I don't think it's like in a creepy way that they wanted a relationship with their mother or father or something. I think it's just because this is your first example.
Okay, because I studied psychology. It was this theory was developed by Freud. And it was 100% a creepy thing. It was 100% that you, like the Oedipal complex that you want to marry someone who is like your opposite sex parent. So that is the origins of that theory, and I find it gross. I don't know, like, I'm not, because I don't like this, I've never actually, like, looked into whether anyone has actually, because Freud also, to be clear, he was not, he did not use the scientific process. He, like, basically just had theories and observations. So he didn't have any real evidence for this in terms of, like, what we would now consider scientific evidence, maybe observations. I don't know if anyone has ever studied this in recent history with real scientific methods. I also don't know how exactly you do that, because, like, how do you actually, like, decide which characteristics you're looking at in terms of who someone gets married to? I think what can be true, though, is with trauma. Like, if someone has suffered certain types of abuse or certain types of patterns, that sometimes they do seem to go back to that because it's sort of something that they're either hoping that they can heal in this new relationship, or that they are, or it is just familiar to them. And like, there are lots of other reasons for that. so I think when it comes to sort of traumatic experiences, either from past experiences with romantic partners or with your parents, like I think there is evidence of that, but I'm not sure there's any evidence of like you actually are more likely to marry someone with certain personality traits that are similar to your parents.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to know more about things like that. So if we have any listeners who are practicing psychologists, please let us know if you know more, because I'd be very curious.
Yeah.
But regardless of whether Hermione is being Molly-like here or not, she certainly, I don't think we have ever seen her more out of control.
Maybe when she sets the birds after him. These might be the two moments, yeah.
Maybe with the birds and lavender brown.
Yeah.
That's still not as
I mean, she does say at the end of the chapters that she hasn't ruled it out to set the birds
which
on
is
him.
pretty funny. I actually really like that moment. And I think Ron likes that moment too.
Yeah.
We see him kind of smile. And like, I honestly think that Ron, okay, as much as maybe in the moment he is scared of Hermione, I think that he is probably happy that she is this angry. The reason I would say that is because his big fear was, we were better without you. This is from what the Horcrux said. We were better without you, happier without you, glad of your absence. We laughed at your stupidity, your cowardice, your presumption. I think he is terrified that they didn't even care he was gone, or were happy that he was gone. And she like immediately, I think, kind of in her anger shows him that isn't true. Like, I think if she had just been like, oh, I guess you're back, like, I think that would have hurt a lot. And so I think actually this was kind of exactly what Ron wanted or needed in that moment. I think especially like one of the first things she says is, let me find it. I came running after you. I called you. I begged you to come back. Like, to me, that is like heartbreaking. You know, she is really like, even if she's not saying I missed you so much, it's like she is like laying herself bare of like, I begged you to come back and you didn't, and like you hurt me so much. And I think that shows Ron. Like, also, to be honest, I think also when she sets the birds after him, I think part of him was happy because it showed him that she cared. And I think that's like this level of fury, like, I think it shows him how much he hurt her. And like, that means that she cares. And like, Harry was hurt that Ron left, but wasn't like, it's not the same as that like romantic hurt of like, you rejected me, you left me, you abandoned me. Like, and I think the fact that Hermione does not just forgive him like Ron, that like Harry does, and just like is so furious, is like shows Ron what he needed and wanted to know, which is that she does have strong feelings for him.
Yeah, I think it's easier for Harry to forgive Ron because he literally just saved his life. Which he does mention several times to Hermione, is like, you know, kind of like, yeah, he saved my life. He's good. I'd be like, okay, I got to put this Protego charm between you two so you don't like hurt yourselves while you're super angry.
Yeah.
Which was quite funny.
I feel like that's just boys in general, though. Even if you go back to just like high school or things like that, like boys will fight. They'll have a fist fight. And then I feel like they're just good.
They worked it out in a different way.
Like, they get it out and they're good.
Yeah, we see that in Goblet of Fire. Like, when Harry, like, forgives Ron in, like, 2 seconds flat about, not believing him about the Goblet of Fire. And, like, that's not because Ron saved his life. It's just, like, yeah, they have a different relationship. It's just, like, I think it's different. it's just like, they're two male friends, teenagers. It's just different. Whereas for Hermione and Ron, it's like for both of them, I think they get very sensitive at anything from each other because of that like romantic interest, that fear of romantic rejection, that like, all of that, those emotions are wrapped up in it.
Yeah.
Another reason why I like this chapter is because it contains the scene that I chose for my Ron signature moment in episode 77, when we looked for signature moments for the main 7 characters. And that was the moment when Ron is having his speech about how he found them using the Deluminator, and with with pauses where he thinks that are particularly heartwarming, and Hermione's just not having it.
Yeah.
It's just really good. So yeah, I'd recommend episode 77 because it's an all hosts episode, and we all pick our favorite signature moments, and they're all pretty much different, and we read the quotes out and we explain why we picked them, and it was a great time.
Yeah, and we delve pretty deeply into this whole part for Ron.
Yeah.
Ron is a phenomenal character.
Yeah.
So, Stephanie, would you have any last words before we go into our ad break?
No, I'm good. I was about to say, I agree. This has been a great conversation.
Goes a little bit everywhere.
Always.
That is kind of our signature thing. We're a long form, meandering chat in the pub. This is what we do.
It is perfect because you fit in all of my lovely, like, random, because that's one of the things on my show that I do a lot is like, I'll just have a random idea and I'll spit out my tangent. And then we lose track of time. And we're like, the Patreon episode, we'll put it in a Patreon episode.
No, we put it all in.
I love it.
Yeah. So, Taavi, Sophia, do you have anything to add?
Well, maybe we'll say, maybe we did cut something out for Patreon. You'll never know. Better sign up. Shh.
That is true. That is true. Sign up to find out.
Sneaky.
And this chapter was sponsored by Dumbledore's Dubrees and Deluminators. With the new Deluminator 2000, you can not only turn your lights off at any reasonable distance, but track your friends and loved ones without their knowledge or consent. Warning, lights going inside the user's chest might cause warm and fuzzy feelings. When I was coming up with this ad break, I found a new word because I wanted something that's alliterative with Dumbledore and Deluminators, and I found the word Dubree, which is apparently kind of a slightly archaic British word for a thing that the speaker cannot name precisely. So like a thingy or like a what's it? It's a Dubree.
I was going to ask you if that was some Britishism. Yeah.
Yes, it's a word of the day.
We do love how weird the word English language is. There's so many random little words in there. But Ev, what's playing on the jukebox today?
Thank you for asking. And thanks to Irvin's recommendation, we have The Locket by Split 7 Ways.
Wonderful.
Give them a listen.
I'm far from home, so tired and cold. My stomach's growling, my bones feel rolled. I'm full of fears that just won't end. About the girl I love and my best friend. I've loved her now for so long. How did my life go so wrong? I know he's made of stronger stuff. Maybe my love's just not enough. And still it shouts, oh nothing, nothing. Voices my doubts, oh nothing, nothing. Can't shut it out, oh nothing, nothing. The locket won't let me go.
And of course, thank you, Stephanie, for being on the podcast.
Thank you guys so much for having me. This was so much fun.
It was lovely to have you. I hope you can come again someday.
Agreed. Where can we follow you? And we've already got a couple episodes of your podcast here to plug, but is there anything else we should know?
You can find us at Expecto Patronum pretty much everywhere except on Twitter where we're Expecto Pod. And then you can follow me personally on my Instagram, which is by Stephanie Joyce. But definitely check out episode 15 of Expecto Patronum, where we go over the deer, and then episode 16 where we talk about family ties and patronuses.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed your time at the pub today, please rate and review us online or tell your friends about our show. And huge thanks again to Katie Rieken, who bought us this round of drinks at the Three Broomsticks.
Thank you.
If you'd like to buy us the next round, head over to patreon.com/3broomsticks with the numeral 3 to sign up.
And if you want to find us online, we're on various social media channels, which are linked on our website and in the show notes. You know, the regular ones: LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, not X, or maybe X. You have to go and find out.
I don't think we're on LinkedIn.
We are not on LinkedIn. I just want people to search for us on random weird places.
Oh, God.
LinkedIn?
Just type Three Broomsticks into every platform you can. It helps our algorithm and gets us more views.
Listeners, if you want us to be on LinkedIn, let us know, and we can do that. You know,
it would be really funny if we did like fake posts as if we were like different jobs in the wizarding world or whatever. Actually, this is giving me great ideas, but okay, sorry, go on.
No. If we do it, we are going to be a pub. We are going to behave as if we were a pub.
Oh, okay.
Which we are.
Yeah.
The Three Broomsticks.
On Tuesday, yeah.
Indeed.
Yep. Happy hour on Friday.
3 for 2 on butterbeer.
Well, in Sweden we can't do that, but I'm sure you can do that in the UK or in England. And of course, if you want more chains of emojis, a heads up on recommended reading for these episodes, so you can get them in advance and not pause us, or share anything you have in your mind, and of course, get information about our Patreon so you can help us keep the lights on at the pub. Please do check us out. The website is 3broomsticks, spelled out this time, stickspod.com, where you can also submit a topic or let us know your thoughts. We'd love to have your topics and suggestions.
And next time we meet at the Three Broomsticks, we will be discussing seasonally appropriate love in Harry Potter. It's a power of love. And with this wonderful discussion at an end, it's been me, Ev.
And me, Sophia.
And I'm Taavi. Thank you for listening, and see you next time in the Three Broomsticks.
Cheers!
Give me big old buckets of butterbeer. Give me big old barrels of butterbeer. Give me the drink I love so dear. And another round for my friend right here of the sweet old butterbeer.
This episode of The Three Broomsticks was edited by Patrick Musilek. The theme song was written and performed by The Faithful Sidekicks. Make sure to check them out at thefaithfulsidekicks.com.
And I think that, wait, I just lost my train of thought. Give me a moment. What were we talking about?
Choo-choo.
Yeah, the train has left the station. Where is it gone? I don't know. Okay, it might come back to me. It might not.
The train has left the station and Sophia is not on it.
Yeah,
as Dumbledore would say, the train goes on.
I am attempting to fly after the train in a flying car, but I just cannot get there.
There goes a train to hell, and I was supposed to be on it.